Welcome to ePathshala PG courses on computer science. We will see about a module which explains about how to work with JSP with JDBC. So, here the objective of this module is to know about how to install MySQL and to run JSP pages in Tomcat, and the next we will discuss about how to access and manipulate databases from a JSP page using JDBC. So, we already have an introduction about JDBC. So, before start working with JSP, let us see about the basic steps how to work with the databases, and we will also see how to run a JSP page by downloading the MySQL, and we will see that how to access databases using JSP. So, as we know that JDBC is an API, application programming interface, that acts between Java programs and DBMS. And JDBC is a core part of Java platform, and it is also included in the standard JDK distribution. The purpose of this JDBC is to connect databases and to manipulate data that is stored in the databases either from a servlet page or from a JSP page. So, we have already seen that how to work with servlets, and we have also seen that how we can access a database using servlets. So, we have got enough introduction about how to install Tomcat, the web server, Tomcat web server, and we got an introduction about how to execute a servlet in a Tomcat, and we have also seen that how to connect a database from a servlet and to execute a servlet. So, here in this module we will see that how to work with JSP with databases. So, we know that the basic steps to connect databases are: the first step you have to establish a connection, the second step we have to create JDBC statements, the third step we have to execute the SQL statements, fourth step we have to get the result set if it is a select query, or if it is other queries it would return the number of rows affected, and the fifth step you have to close the connection. So, these are the basic steps to connect to databases using JDBC. So, here we know that in order to establish a connection, the first thing you have to do is to import the SQL package. So, in Java you have a separate package to work with databases, and so all these classes that are useful for establishing JDBC connectivity is available in a package called java.sql. So, you have to import java.sql.star. Once you import the package, the second step you have to load the specific driver, and we have seen that what are the different drivers, different type drivers you have in the JDBC module. So, here for an example we will know that we have to load the driver. So, we have a class.forName to dynamically load a driver class, and here the sample code is given for loading an Oracle driver. So, here we use the code like class.forName to load an Oracle driver. So, this is the URL for identifying an Oracle driver. So, oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver, and once you load the driver you have to make a connection. So, to create a connection object, so we have a class called connection and you are trying to create a connection object. So, use the driver manager would be managing different kinds of drivers that is available in the machine. So, this driver manager you have a method called get connection that would return a connection object. So, this get connection would make the connection with the database. So, you have to give the URL, the username and the password. So, the username and the password is an optional one. So, give the database URL or the DB name so that it can establish a connection. So, once it establishes the connection, it returns a connection object. So, now you can start creating JDBC statements with the connection object. So, connection object dot create statement would return a statement object. So, this statement object is created for sending the SQL statements to the database. Now, after you create the statements, you have to execute the SQL statements. So, you can give your SQL statement. So, the SQL statement can be given as a string, and you would put it within double quotes. So, this is a statement, SQL statement. So, this string has to be given within a method called execute query or execute update. So, here with the statement object you use a method called execute query. So, within this execute query method you give the query statement that would return the result set if it is a select query, and you can now process these statements. So, process the records that are returned as result set. Once you process all the records, you can close the connection. So now we have seen about the introduction of the JDBC. Now we have to start working with how to manipulate or access databases from a JSP page. So here I will tell you about how to install MySQL. So you can go to the MySQL database. You can install MySQL database from the official website like dev.mysql.com. So you can give this MySQL Essential 64-bit free download, and you can directly go to the first link and you can install MySQL database. So to install MySQL, you can select the platform type depending upon whether you are working in Windows or Mac, and download the installer. So now you have your MySQL in your machine. So now let us look into what are the steps we need to run JSP using the Tomcat server. So step 1, to run the JSP pages, you have to download Tomcat server. So here the Tomcat server can be downloaded from a website like https://tomcat.apache.org/download-60.cga. So you can directly go to this URL, type this URL, and you can take the zip file. There would be a zip file in the core distribution binary, and you can unzip the zip file in the folder where you want to have your Tomcat server. So now this Tomcat folder will contain folders like bin, configuration, that is conf, lib, logs, temp, web apps, and work. So there would be 7 folders that would be available within this Tomcat Apache folder. So within this Tomcat folder, you have got all these 7 folders, and the folder which is of our now interest is web apps. So now you have to create a JSP page. So before creating a JSP page, you have to create a directory like within this web apps, you can create a directory. So here we have with the sample, you have created a JSP directory called my.jsp. So this JSP directory or a folder has to be created under the web apps. Now you can save your JSP file within this folder called my.jsp. So here your file would be saved in the location like C, program files, Apache Tomcat, whatever it is, and then within web apps you have created a folder like my.jsp within which you will store your JSP page. Now in order to work with MySQL, you have to download the connector jar file. So download MySQL connector jar file from the following URL. So you have an URL like https://dev.mysql.com downloads connector/j/3.1.html. So you can download this jar file and copy the jar file to the Apache Tomcat web apps. Within web apps you would have got a folder called root, and within this root you will have a folder called webinf. Within that you will have a folder called lib. So within that you have to put your jar file, the MySQL jar file, connector jar file within this lib directory. So within your Apache, in order to work with MySQL, you have to put this jar file in the lib directory of your Tomcat, Apache Tomcat. Now we have to run our JSP using this Tomcat server. So to run the JSP program, first you have to start the Tomcat service. So either you can directly go to the bin and you can start the batch file, or you can use the start in the left side of your machine. You can use start, run, and then you can write services.msc that would display all the services. You can select the Apache Tomcat and you can start the Tomcat. So either you can directly go start there or you can start from here. And now you have to open a new tab in the browser to open your JSP file. So JSP would be executed like a HTML file. So you can directly type http://localhost : the port number where it is your web server is running. So 8080, and then your file is stored, file name.jsp is stored within a folder called my.jsp. So straight away you can give my.jsp. This should be available within your web apps. So this can locate web apps folder. So within this web apps folder you would have got a folder called my.jsp. Within this my.jsp you had the JSP file. So now you can directly click the JSP file that would get executed. Okay. So now to work with databases, we can do several operations with the databases. One is that you can create databases and you can also manipulate databases. So, create statement can also be given, creating a table statement can be given, or manipulating the databases is through select statement, update statement, delete statement and so on. So, you can make use of anything with the JSP. So, through JSP you can connect to the database and you can actually create a table and put it in your database, or you can access any of the data records from any of the table that is created from the database. Okay. So, now starting how you need to write your JSP program. Okay. So, here the JSP program starts with page content type equal to text bar HTML and the page encoding is given as UTF-8. Okay. So, you know that there are different kinds of tags like directives, then you can also give declarations, you can give expressions, and you can also import the library. Supposing if you want to import your SQL package, then you can also import it using the directive tag. So, here you have to work with databases, you have to import the SQL package. So, to import the SQL package you use the JSP tag. So, you know that there are 4 kinds of tags. So, you give this percentage symbol and make use of @ symbol, this shows that it is a directive tag. So, here you use the keyword page and make use of the word call import, that is equal to, you have to give the package which you want to import within double quotes. So, it is given as a string. So, a directive tag is for importing the package. And now you are also importing the driver. So, here we use the MySQL. So, here com.mysql.jdbc.driver has to be imported. So, these 2 statements you give it and then you can make declarations. So, declaration has to be within this tag, that is after percentage symbol you will have an exclamatory mark. So, this shows that you are making declaration. So, a declarative tag would be denoted by this. So, now you declare a string called driver. So, this is the string the string you are going to use it for loading the driver, that driver URL would be given here, and then you want to give the URL of the database. So, the URL of the database you will give it as JDBC colon mysql colon /localhost/pub. So, pub is the database name, you are creating it. So, you want to give the URL. So, you declare a string called URL and then you want to give the name of the table and the name of the user and the password of the user. So, the username is given as root and the password is given as password. So, these are the declarations you make, and now you start writing your HTML code. You know that JSP is a HTML page within which you have your Java code embedded. So, you start writing your HTML code. So, it starts with HTML head and then title, closing head, then now you start with a body and you are trying to write a statement like attempting to open JDBC connection to. So, this is what would be printed as a new para in your HTML page, that is in your browser, displayed in your browser. Now, within the scriptlet, so scriptlet is the tag within which you write all the Java statements, any number of Java statements you can put it. So, you have to open, so you need to make the server understand that these are the Java statements you are putting within your HTML code. So, all these things has to be embedded within this JSP tags. So, this is a tag, that is without an exclamatory or without equal to symbol or without an attribute symbol. So, there are 4 things: attribute, equal to, or an exclamatory. So, without all these symbols you can start writing your scriptlet code. So, scriptlet, it starts with open angle bracket, the percentage symbol, and then now you write your Java code. So, here to write your Java code, first you are trying to give the string. So, the create statement is what you want to do. So, you want to create a table. So, the create statement is given as table str. So, it is a string, table str is a string and your create statement is given here. So, you want to create a table called test. Now, this is a string, we have not yet started executing the statement. The first step, as usual, to establish connection with JDBC, using JDBC you have to load the driver. So, you use class.forName and then load the driver. So, the driver is actually a string that is stored earlier, that is declared earlier in the declaration tag. So, use the driver and then load the driver. And now create a connection object. So connection con is the connection object, driver manager dot get connection. You give the URL of your database, username is given as root and password is given as password. So all these three parameters, you establish a connection with the database. Once you make a connection, we can create a statement using the create statement object. So the statement would be now created. So here this is the part of the code, the Java code you are putting within this page, and then now you are displaying a statement like executing. So this is your HTML, the text that is displayed in your browser. So it's a paragraph tag within which you give the text as executing colon. So this would get displayed. So executing what you want to say, that you want to execute the string create statement. So you are trying to put it, whatever you want to display in the JSP page should be given as an expression. So you have to give percentage equal to, this shows that table string would be printed as a string in the page in the browser. So colon table string would be printed. Now again you start your scriptlet where you want to execute your create statement. So the statement ST80 is the statement object that dot execute update of the table string. So table string is nothing but the create statement. So the query string is given here, that would get executed. So here you want to now print on the screen a message like success. So this is the text that is printed in the HTML page, and now you want to close the connection. So connection dot close. So now you can see after this your try block would be over. So you have started, because this throws exception. So you put it within all these statements within a try block. So you close your try block, and now this is the part of the, so this was also a scriptlet code which should be embedded within the scriptlet tag. So within the scriptlet tag you catch SQL exception that can be thrown, or class not found exception that can be thrown in this code. So here you have written both the catch blocks, and then you have closed the scriptlet tag and the body of the HTML JSP page and the HTML tag. So it's a very simple JSP page you have written. So now you can see that how it the output of this code. So the first text you want to display in the page after when your JSP page is executed is attempting to open JDBC connection to, and then connection to which string you have used an expression which would display the string. The string is nothing but it would display the URL of your database. So it prints the URL of your database, and then we try to put the HTML code executing, which is getting displayed. Executing the statement query string, we have used an expression tag again to show what is the query string, and then finally you have said that it is success. So what happens in this code is a table would be created. So now in order to check, we can directly go to the database. We are working with MySQL. So make use the database name. So here you can make use of the command like show tables that would display what are the different tables created. So now you can see that there is a table created called test. Okay. So now this is another example how you are going to do manipulation with databases from a JSP page. So you can make a select operation. So you can start writing page content type equal to text bar HTML and page encoding equal to UTF-8. So this is the first statement you will write in a JSP page. Then you start opening a HTML tag. So within this HTML you have started writing, first importing the SQL package. So the SQL package has to be imported with the import tag. So here directive tag or the import tag. So here you will say that page import equal to the package what you want to import. So to work with database you import the package called java.sql. And the next step what you have to do is you have to load the driver. So class.forName, this is again the Java code put within this HTML file. So you are putting as a scriptlet code. So open a scriptlet tag and class.forName, directly you have given the driver. And then now you start writing your HTML page. So start HTML, head, title, it's a publisher database table, you want to select it, and then close the head. Start opening the body. Now you want to display the text, the publisher's database table. So which is displayed as a heading tag. So you give the font size and type used by H1 tag. And then write the Java code to establish connection. So you open a scriptlet tag which would open a connection to the database given the username and the password. So, connection object is created by driver manager dot get connection. So, here you have used the URL as JDBC :MySQL localhost, within that pub. So, pub is the database name, comma, the username is given as root and the password is given. So, you are establishing a connection, making a connection. So, once you establish a connection using the get connection method, you would get an connection object. So, use the connection object to create the statement. Now, you want to execute a select query. So, write statement dot execute query. You want to use a select statement like select start from the table name is publisher. So, this would return a result set, and now it is over. Your Java statements are over, you have got a result set. Now, you want to process the result set. So, before processing the result set, the data that are processed and the records that are retrieved are now has to be shown in the form of a table. So, you can start writing your HTML code with the table creation. So, your HTML table is created with the table tag. Then you open a new row. So, use the tr tag and open a new row, and you have given 5 columns like ID, name, city, state and then country. So, all these are heading tags. So, the first row is a heading for the all contains the column headings, and then now you start processing the result set. So, these are Java code. Processing the result set is a Java code. So, the Java code should be given as a scriptlet code. So, you can open as a scriptlet tag and now write while result set dot next, which is true. You want to say that you have to whatever retrieve should be put in the table at next row. So, what you will do is you will close this Java part, that is after this you will say that you will have an open parenthesis. So, till this open parenthesis you have your Java code. So, close the scriptlet tag. Now, start a new row tr, and you are going to read the column values of the first record, and you want to display as a first row in your table. So, now open a new column td, and this first new column should get the expression that is the value from the first column of the first row. So, you have to say that get string of, this is the index for the column, get string of 1 is the first column. So, result set object dot get string of the value from the first column would be first field would be put in the first column of your table, and then get string of 2 would be the value that is retrieved from the second column of the first record, that would be stored in the second column of your table, and get string of 3 would retrieve the value from the third field of your table of the first row, that would be stored in the third column. So, likewise you will read the column values for the first record, and you will show it in the first row of the table. So, that would be displayed. So, and now you close your table and body of the HTML page and the HTML. So, now you can see that how your output would be displayed. So, you can see that you access directly, you call the JSP page like http://localhost:8080, and you will have a folder to work with this JSP page. So, you will have a folder, and within that folder you will have your JSP page. So, you will give this URL, and now it will show that the publishers table database table. So, it retrieves all the things and put it in the form of a table which would be displayed in the browser. So, this is how you do the select operation. And now, the next example is to show that how an insert operation can be done with databases from a JSP page. So, here for doing an insert, you try to import packages like java.io. So, now you are all familiar with the JSP code. So, you import java.io, java.util and java.sql, and then you can import javax.servlet.http and javax.servlet, and you are now calling a servlet from the JSP page, and then you are making use of the prefix, the formatted tags. So, using the tag lib, and you can use the prefixes C and SQL. So, now you can start writing your HTML page, okay, and then come here, you want to load your driver, okay. So, you can set the data source, and then you can say that the variable is snapshot and driver is going to be this MySQL driver. You have given the URL and then the username and the password. And now the query string is given as insert into employees the values whatever you want to insert it. So, this is given within the tag called SQL. So, SQL is a prefix used. So, within that you have used the given the query string. Now, you have used the data source because it is already imported. So, use the data source and then you are inserting it. So, you can see that the new data gets imported into the database. So, we want to insert 10522 Jiva Kumar. So, this would be inserted as a new record into the table. So, before inserting it you had 4 records and 5 records, and after inserting it you have got 6 records in your table. And this is a delete operation you do with the JSP page. So, the same code, everything is the same. You use the servlet code to execute the statement. So, the servlet has got all these things, making connection, establishment, all the code. So, now you give the query string as delete from employees where ID equal to question mark. So, that would be got from the user. So, you have said that the param, use the param tag value equal to use dollar of employee ID. So, that would retrieve the employee ID from the user. Now, you want to delete the row by giving the value of the employee ID. So, here that would get deleted, and then you want to again display the records from the table, employees table. So, you try to retrieve all the values and show it in the form of a table. So, whatever I have said in the previous slides, you get the ID, you get the first, last and the age, and then that would be displayed. So, employee ID, first name, last name and the age. So, all these would be displayed. So, initially you get deleted, and then so you get the user ID from the user that would delete the record and would get displayed. So, this is a simple login application which shows that how a username is checked against the password. So, as I told you, you import all these packages, get the user ID from the servlet page. So, get parameter would get the user ID, get parameter of password would retrieve the password. Now, you open a connection with the database. So, you load the driver and open a connection with the database. Once you open the connection, create the statement. Now, you execute the query which would retrieve the ID and the ID. Given the ID, it would retrieve the where user ID is which would retrieve all the records given the user ID. Now, you will check for that retrieved record, it checks the password, and then it says that welcome user ID. If the password is correct, it gives the user ID, welcome user ID, or invalid password, try again. So, this is the output. So, we can now summarize that. So, in this module we have discussed about how to install MySQL and run JSP pages in Tomcat, how to create table and manipulate databases with the table, and we have also demonstrated a simple login application to work with JSP. Thank you.